Really cool to see how different guys have handled experiences like that in their lives. But let's go back to the play with Marcus Rex from last week, because obviously the lack of execution bothers you as a defensive guy.
Right.
But the play call actually bothers you too, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know, Marcus Williams, first off, they're not going to be in this situation if Marcus Williams doesn't make the great interception, or Mike Westhoff, my guy, comes up with a punt block. So a lot of factors win in this game, but they got a chance to win it. And so as a coach, you got to have the best situation. And Charles, you and I talked about it before. These are things that you work on all year. Every week you go over these particular situations. And quite honestly,
Coach, I got it.
I got it.
No worries.
And it may come up once a year, once every 2-3 years. But this is how you play it. Here's the thing that's fundamentally wrong with this defense. Number one, why in the heck do we have 4 guys rushing the passer? Absolutely shouldn't happen. And you know what? I'm going to put my money guy right back here where it should be. These should be corners. Why do I say they should be corners? These guys are playing the outside third of the defense. They practice the whole year. They do it. How many reps did Marcus Williams get of playing the outside corner?
Probably
I got the answer, probably 0. Okay, so that's the fundamental problems with this. But let's let this play run.
Why would they change that, though, for this? If he had never played in that position, what would the thinking be?
That's a great question, Sam. That wouldn't be my thing because, look, the call is terrific. The call is absolutely terrific in the fact that you want to have a sideline defense. So clearly you're going to see it. Hey, it's set up, the sideline's covered and all that. However, we'll stop it right here. Everybody's in good position. See how they're in outside leverage right here. They throw the ball in. We're going to make the tackle. Number one, I should have hit this guy. This guy should have been deeper to start with, about 20 yards. You want to elevate the throw in a curl. And then we should have had this. That's the big difference. He could be closing in on this tackle as well. So when Marcus Williams, who would have been much closer at the start of this, he would have had the same leverage as this guy would have been, wouldn't have had to duck his head. He would have been in position to shield the sideline. And that's what would have happened here. Instead, he misses it, and there's nobody back there. It's a mistake of just a huge mistake here for you practicing. And you know what? And I get it. I coached 30 years in this league, okay? And I certainly understand it. But there's so many guys say, hey, we want to be simple. We're going to rush 4. In this situation, you don't rush 4. And when I saw him lined up in it, first off, the play before, the post was open for a touchdown. Keenum never saw it. So they come back. Sean Payton.
Not looking for it.
No, exactly. Yeah. And because you're right. You're assuming, hey, I got to get this ball outside.
Out of bounds.
Okay, so now you end up, Sean Payton's like, whoa, he had to see the same thing we all saw. Hey, that post is wide open for a touchdown. Timeout. Let's make sure we have everything in order. They come back, sideline defense. Yes, it's the appropriate call, but it's not done in a 3-man rush. It should have, or a 4-man rush. It should have been done in a 3-man rush with the last man goal line defender being a safety. So 2 fundamental things that were wrong about the call: 3-man rush compared to a 4-man rush. Corners should play where they belong, outside and high, and that's what happens. But it was a recipe. Like I say, it might not have been the worst call, Randy, I've ever seen.
Right.
But it was the worst result I've ever seen.
I got one.
There you go.
You got it.
And look, we all make mistakes. Marcus Williams, he's got to live with this thing. Look, I called a timeout. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Huh? I remember it, right?
No.
But you got to get over it. You move on. You learn from it. But this team needs to learn from it because, quite honestly, it cost them a trip to the NFC Championship, and who knows?
When I look at that play, I look at the secondary and how they were playing. You have 3 wide receivers. Let's go back to this screen. You have 3 wide receivers in a bunch. Can we get the screen back up?
There we go. Whoops.
Let's go all the way back. Let's go all the way back. All right, so you have 3 wide receivers in a bunch right here, and you have really 3 defenders. You have 2 outside the numbers. There's 10 seconds to go on the clock. No timeout. So if they throw the ball in the middle, that means the game is over. So, Rex, I agree with you. Defensively, this was a bad call. But for me, I'm going to go ahead and play it. I want you to look at the spacing between the number 2 and the number 3 receiver. That means these 2 guys. Cornerback number 20's eyes is at the quarterback. I'm going to stop it right here for you. All right. So if his eyes, number 20, is at the quarterback, then that means bad spacing here. Coach, you the D coordinator, Wood, you play defense. Good spacing or bad spacing?
Bad spacing.
Okay, so if it's bad spacing, number 20's eyes is on the quarterback, could he have picked this ball off? But since he did New Orleans Saints, y'all already at home. So that was my point that I wanted to make. It was great focus, great concentration by Diggs Keenum. Way to believe in Stephon Diggs. But I want to say something to Marcus Williams. There's been a lot of guys been on the negative side of bad plays like this. If I could give you any advice, young man, get in the lab all off season. No clubbing. Leave L.A., leave Florida, leave all that alone. Get back in the laboratory, man. You got a job to keep, young man. Do your thing.
And by all accounts, though, had a great year other than that play, and that's what he'll be remembered for this year until something better happens. We saw in that piece that there are a lot of guys who have been in similar positions, but nobody's been in his exact position. That was the first walk-off touchdown in the fourth quarter in postseason NFL history.
That's going to sting.
Yes, it is. This guy's hoping to do a little bit of that today on the positive side. Jalen Ramsey talking a big game, guaranteeing a Super Bowl for Jags fans last week, and saying Gronk's never seen a corner like him. We will find out pretty soon here. Coming